Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing your daily Walking Dead Q&A video for today. In this one, we're going to start with me giving my thoughts on the Walking Dead comic book series versus the Walking Dead television series versions of Negan. Ooh man, it's starting to get colder outside, so I'm bundled up nice and warm for this one. Spoiler warning if you guys are not caught up for The Walking Dead Season 7, which is up to the end of Episode 4. So I thought this was a good topic to go on with today, since Negan is such a huge concentration in Episode 4 and this season. I mean, Negan is like, he's in more episodes than anybody else. So he has the largest so far for this season. So he has the largest part for this season so far. Episode 1, tons of lines, huge concentration. 2, he's not in. But then 3 and 4, whereas you have Rick and the other survivors, most of them are in 1 and 4. And you've got Daryl, who's kind of throughout as well, too. But I would say Negan has the biggest part so far this season of pretty much anybody for the most part. So this question came from Nick Morris, and he says, Q&A, hey Trev, I don't want to cause controversy or hate, but I really think JDM was the wrong cast for Negan. Yes, I love watching him. He's funny, charismatic, and fascinating, but he just isn't scary, and ultimately, that's a fail for me. Comic Negan is a bull, broad, thick neck, low-browed, and very short-tempered and nasty. Comic Negan is easy to accept as a demagogue in this feudal society because he's a strong man who terrifies us, and I think he's getting at his physicality one-on-one. If you got in a fight with Negan from the comics, he looks like kind of like a linebacker, so to speak, a little bit, so he's quite scary, right? JDM tells the jokes well, but because he just isn't scary, his performance and the wonderful gags are ultimately meaningless, because I look at him and I think he would have been assassinated by his own men long ago. The genius of Comic Negan is you think, whoa, this guy is untouchable because you dare not mess with him. So it's a pretty lengthy message from Nick, but I decided I would include it for this one to start up the conversation because I've seen lots like it in the channel. So for those of you who left comments like that or messages like that, here you go. Here's my thoughts on it. So, especially from behind, JDM has pretty much no ass. Not that I'm checking him out or anything, but you can see, I mean, he's skinny. He's really skinny. Even when he wears the gear and stuff, he's still really skinny. The jacket is really tight, so it certainly doesn't help add to the size. They probably would want to go with maybe a thicker jacket or something. And, of course, with actors, their goal is not really to be bulky. Their goal is to be skinny, to have the lowest body fat percentage possible, so they look really slimmed down and cleaning everything on camera, even low fat for the face and everything, so you don't get that under the chin thing and you don't get any of that going on. That's what looks best on camera for most actors in most roles. I mean, there are certain roles where you can have people like Arnold, you can have people like The Rock, some muscular guys in action movies and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's their best choice to try and lower their body fat and go with that. Plus, I think he's like 50 now, isn't he? Roughly, somewhere around there. So if he's not 50, he's pretty close to 50. He's getting close. So, of course, he was bigger in Watchmen. He was thicker and everything in Watchmen. So I do still think JDM is a great casting choice for Negan. Henry Rollins would have been really cool to see and probably more intimidating. But as Kirkman has said in interviews, JDM brings kind of a warmth to Negan that isn't in the comic version. He brings kind of a more relaxed and kind of a little bit of a more caring side, I want to say, to Negan that really is not there in the comics at all. Now, right now, you're probably right, that could take away from his intimidation factor. However, he knows when to turn it on, he knows when to turn it off. Be careful how you're looking at me, Rick. He's good at kind of flipping back and forth when he needs to. I think that as far as the comedy goes and the smile and everything, I mean, he's a perfect. You could not get a better choice for that side of Negan. Maybe for the intimidation side, maybe there are some choices out there that might be a little bit better, but At the same time, I think he's a really good cast, and it's never going to be exact. I mean, if you look at, David Morrissey versus the Governor from the comics, they look completely different. They don't even look remotely close. Probably not even the same nationality, to be honest. Comic book series version of the Governor looks more like Danny Trejo or something. Yeah, it's in terms of which version I prefer. Of course, the comic Negan is way further on in the story, so of course I prefer the comic Negan at this time. But I think the TV series Negan, with JDM, has a good chance to kind of surpass him, I suppose. Having that warm side too of him, and kind of that kind of relaxed sort of tone. I like his voice and everything like that. I think that's good. He for me, he seems less psychopathic than the does this make sense what I'm saying? He seems less crazy than the comic book series version, even though he can do the comedy. So he seems more together, whereas the comic book series version seems more kind of crazy to me. He seems kind of more nutty and just really id-based, really out there, really crazy like that and intense. So it depends, but we'll see. I think if they want, knowing in the future that eventually Negan could, may not always be in that type of position he's in now. I'll dance around spoilers or anything. It may help to have that warm side to him as well too. So in terms of my preference, comics, but see potential for the TV series, and JDM being a great actor, and I did love him in Watchmen and everything too as comedian. I even have an action figure of the comedian, DC Universe figure. So I liked him in Watchmen too. I think he's a good choice. And there could have been some other cool people that would have been awesome. Henry Rollins probably would be my top pick to see how that would be. But you know what? I mean, he's doing a real good job, I think, live action version. And I felt like his mannerisms were really funny in episode 4, like when he knocks and everything. Really good. It's such a weird mix to see him with the comedy, and you don't know when he's serious and intimidating, and he has to play. That's a tough role to play of Negan, because he's got to be able to do all those different things at once. That is tough. So write your comments below. Which version do you guys prefer so far? Do you think JDM is simply too skinny for Negan? Maybe he needs to get on some juice or something. I don't know. But write in the comments below. He could gain some weight, I think, for Negan. He could, he could lift a little heavy. Get on 3 or 4 protein shakes a day, eggs, oatmeal, all the good stuff. Whatever. We'll see. We'll see how it goes in a few seasons if he bulks up at all or anything. But so far, I'm liking him as Negan, and that's what it is. Next one's from Jimmy, a Steamer 2, and he says, "Hey Trev, do you think Spencer took it too far with Rick when he brought in Glenn and Abraham? Love your videos." And then we had Sebastian, who replied to him. Sebastian Fernandez said, "I honestly thought Rick was going to beat the holy hell out of him." I like that. That's good. Holy hell. There's the idiot for you right there. He did take it too far. When he mentioned Glenn and Abraham, he took it way too far. And I've got a lot of questions like, how would Shane deal with Negan? How would this person deal with Negan? Could it have gone a different way? When you're dealing with Negan and the Saviors, no matter what, you're going to get at least probably one of your people is going to get killed, minimum. They only lost 2. They lost Denise also, so you could say 3. So could it have gone a little bit better for them? Well, yeah, but they did take out like almost 50, or so Saviors in the process. So their losses were really good considering what they were able to take away from Negan in terms of his manpower. The problem is it's a numbers game, and even if you trade 3 for 50, Rick's group only has like a dozen or 2, and Negan's group has tons, right? So, I mean, probably still over 100 or something like that, probably close to 100 still. So, but absolutely, I don't blame Rick for what has happened with the Saviors. It's just kind of, they've run into somebody that they cannot deal with. They cannot mess with Negan. He is too strong. He's too powerful at this point. It's not even close. And even if Rick wasn't there and it was Spencer and the others, the Wolves probably would have taken them down if they would have found them eventually. Or when the Saviors did find them, they'd march right in, take everything, and they wouldn't be able to defend themselves at all. Deanna and the others would have no chance against the Saviors or the Wolves. Probably even the Wolves they wouldn't stand a chance against. So it'd be even worse for them. So there'd be less people alive. So I think Rick is only added to the group, and Spencer saying that doesn't help anything. And him blaming Rick like that, I think is kind of foolish if he thought it through and he thought about how many they have. He'd be like, okay, well, either way we're going to lose. Rick did the best he could, and it wasn't good enough. But it's not like Spencer could do any better himself. So you surrender sooner. It's like he's still going to kill at least one of you to teach you a lesson, right? That's their normal protocol. So next one's from J-Man Shuttlesworth, and he says, "Are we starting to see a darker Carl now?" And for you, J-Man, it looks like this weekend, too, in episode 4, we're going to see more concentration on Carl. It's getting so weird with this season because we have so many characters to touch on. It's crazy. I mean, you have different locations, you have different characters. It almost feels in a way like the story isn't moving fast enough because you have so many different characters in different locations. We're going to get to see Maggie with the Hilltop this upcoming weekend. Then after that, episode 6 is going to be Tara and Heath's episode. So it's really crazy with all the different characters in different locations. The story is not progressing as quickly as it did when a lot of them were together. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, we're starting to see a little bit more from Carl. But still, a lot of people are really disappointed with him based on the TV series version. I don't know if it's entirely Chandler Riggs' fault. But hopefully we'll see some more from him, and his character will get a lot better because he's got some special comic book moments coming in the next couple of years that right now I don't know how those are going to look. I'm like, I just don't see how that gets translated and looks good. So we'll see what they do with Carl. Up until now, his TV series version, not Chandler Riggs' fault entirely, is pretty disappointing for me because Carl from the comics is one of my absolute favorite characters. He's pretty badass. TV series version, not so much. More like an angsty teen that just doesn't want to listen. Scott Attenborough says, Laurie is a slut, case closed. After the Shane baby comments, this was funny. I just thought I'd throw that in there just because it's funny. After all these years, people are still calling it the same thing. It's like it never gets old. Never gets old. Bearded Dragon says, do you think we will see a shaved Negan next time? That's twice now he said he's going to shave this shit. Yeah, man, we should see that next half or maybe close to the mid-season finale for this half. You'd think so. But maybe they feel like JDM looks more intimidating with it. I'm not sure. Beards tend to make people look a little more badass. Like mixed martial arts fighters when they have sweet beards. I think it does. I think it does work. I think it does make them look like warriors, type of thing when you got this big freaking beard. Or Rick when he had his man bush, as he called it. Yeah, he looks more badass. He's got this huge beard. It's kind of cool. Dashing David says, I love seeing Shane reference this late in the show. And I can't believe I didn't really mention that too much, but absolutely with the baby reveal. But it's just really cool, and it threw me through some kind of a crazy loop when Rick says that to Michonne, because I'm like, oh yeah, Michonne doesn't know about any of that. And it's like, we think that she should, but it's like, I guess he never told her, and now they're in a relationship and stuff, and all this stuff's going on, but it's like, yeah, he probably never told her because he was ashamed, probably. Ashamed? Okay, never mind. He was ashamed. That's good. Because, of course, what happened, and that being, Laurie, because did she meet Laurie? I'd have to look back at the episodes. Did she ever meet Laurie? I guess she wouldn't have. That would have been like right after, because it's supposed season 3. And it's like so close, but it's like Michonne never knew about that. So it was really cool to see him reference Shane. He's a standout character from the series. I don't care if he's just in the first 2 seasons. He's one of the standouts, just like Merle. Some of the others we've had as well too. They're characters that are going to be remembered all the way through the show, I think, by everybody, versus characters like Milton, which a lot of times will be forgotten. And even in the flashback, the journey so far, they just call him like one of the governor's men. It's like they don't even say his name. Like his name doesn't matter. It's like, it's Milton, man, come on, he's got the aluminum stuff around his thing, he's cool, he's like a zombie apocalypse scientist. What's wrong with that? I don't know. Eugene's pretty cool for that same kind of feel. Happy Wife Taylor says, how come Judith is aging so slowly but Carl is growing so fast on the show? Great video, Trev. It's funny. He has grown so much. If you look at season 1, he's just like a little kid, man. And at this point too, now it's like he's a lot of us have grown up over the course of the show. I mean, I have. Like when I started making videos with you guys in the first season, geez, I was like 24, and I'm 30 now. So it's really crazy. And my life has changed totally. I mean, I used to live with my parents and stuff, and I used to drink all the time. Really cleaned up my act, so to speak, the last couple of years. I want to think. So we've all changed a lot, I think, over the course of the show. Going into 7 seasons now, it's crazy, man. It's just nuts to see that. But yeah, in terms of zombie apocalypse time, it's weird to see. But Judith is aging very slowly. And in terms of the series time, she may never grow to be like a 20-year-old or something unless there's time skips. Because with the pace the show goes at in zombie apocalypse time, you know, like it's like we may never see Judith grown up ever, and that's kind of a trippy thing to think about. Oh, Waitresses says they could go to any mattress shop and grab a few mattresses. What's the big deal? Got to be a Sleepy's in the neighborhood. So I don't know if it's that easy because, you know, you got to move them and everything. You got to have trucks and everything. It's a zombie apocalypse, and it's true. That it is kind of annoying that they took the mattresses, and I guess I'll make this the last one here. But maybe it's a strategy. Maybe Negan doesn't want them sleeping well. Did you think about that? Like maybe he's like, because they didn't just take them and keep them and use them. They burned a good portion of them, so they didn't take them all. Like they took all their beds, but they probably kept some of them, but we saw like a pile there of a whole bunch, and it's like on fire, now useless. And it's like, why would they do that? And I think maybe he doesn't want them sleeping. Maybe he wants them scared shitless to the point where they can't even sleep at night, and, you know, tired, and, you know, everything like this. And yeah, or just a reminder every time they lay their head down to think of a Negan. Maybe it's like some kind of programming type of thing, conditioning type thing he's got going on there to show them who's boss. So, oh man, interesting stuff, and absolutely lots of fun. Write your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Comparing comic book series version of Negan, TV series version of Negan, the references to Shane, all this good stuff. Some great comments, guys. The mattresses. Why do you guys think Negan burned them and took them? Yeah, let's continue along with the daily Q&A vids, guys. Having a lot of fun, enjoying it as always. And if you guys like this video, please don't forget to thumb it the hell up below, share, favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, click the goddamn subscribe button, bottom left. Do it. Do it. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again soon for another tomorrow. As always, it's Trev saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.
You better subscribe.